I'm cutting the peppers, one red, one green. And because it's all in a pot and it will simmer, it doesn't matter again if they're all one size or if they're roughly chopped. Just chop it roughly. Make sure that the white things get out of the pepper. You can even leave some of the seeds in because they give it a little spice most of the time. And I have some 2 onions here, roughly chopped, and I use some nice white mushrooms and 2 tomatoes. For the meat, you need some nice beef, and I got some good stewing beef from my butcher. A very important thing with anything and everything you cook is that you have great quality food. If you have a mediocre tomato, the food will taste mediocre. If you have an onion that is not the freshest anymore, well, it will not be as good. And that's the same with the mushrooms. Look how beautiful they look, and the meat looks amazing. So always make sure that you get fresh ingredients, and then life is so much easier. There. That was all the prep. And now I'm going over to my oven. And I'm going to sear the meat first. I use some sunflower oil because it is very neutral in taste. And I would say about half a cup. Heat the oil and then I sear the meat. There's one big important step. Do not dump all the meat in the pot at once. That's just not good because the oil gets cold, and instead of searing the meat, you will steam it and you do not get the nice dark color. So very important, the fat has to be very hot, and you sear it batch by batch. So like about 1 big handful, sear it, another hand until it's all in there. And yeah, that's what you have to do. You can add a little bit of flour after you seared the meat. You don't have to. So let's try it without the flour today, and just try it with the meat and the juices. No, you couldn't hear the sizzle yet. So as long as you can't hear the sizzle, it's not hot enough yet. You have to make sure that the meat is the oil is really, really hot. So yeah, I can get rid of this already. Or maybe I'll put the tomatoes on this plate. And it's raining outside and it's chilly. And we will have this beautiful goulash with some lovely, fresh, crunchy bread. You could have it with potatoes. You can have it with spätzle. That's a very Austrian, Hungarian thing to do, to eat it with a flour product like spätzle or a thick pappardelle noodle. I thought we just have it with bread because you can really dunk the bread in the sauce, which is lovely. Let's try it again. See how long it takes, and this is a fast oven, how long it takes to really heat the fat. It's at least, I would say 30 seconds at least. But now we have a nice sizzle, and put this in here. Be careful that you don't burn yourself. If you have a big pot like this, of course you can get more in right away. And then really wait till it gets a nice dark color on one side, then turn it over and then add more. Yeah, I do this so that it doesn't start cooking. It has to sear. Make a big pot with this because if you reheat it tomorrow, it will be even better. And I mean, we are all not eating much meat anymore these days, so once you make it, make a big batch so you have for a day or two. See how you can even see how the oil is cooling down with the cold meat in it now? So if I would put more meat in, it would really steam instead of sear. Okay, so now that the meat has really a nice golden tint to it, I'm adding the roughly chopped onions. And stir them under. And now we have to wait until all these onions also get a nice golden brownish tint, which will take maybe another 2 or 3, 4 minutes. So in the meantime, you can set the table if you like, or you can sit down and read a magazine or maybe watch the television, because it doesn't need anybody to look after it, it does it by itself. Okay, so now that we've seen it's all nice and brown, we're going to add a generous amount of salt and pepper. And paprika powder. I don't use the smoked paprika powder because I'm taking this off. Not the smoked one because it will be too strong in taste. And again, you use quite a generous amount of good paprika powder. And stir. And you get now beautiful reddish brown color. And now it's time to turn the heat back a bit. The whole time before I only used full power heat to get it really nice and dark. But now we can turn the heat back a bit, and now we add the peppers. Again, roughly chopped. Stir well. I want to try a piece of this meat. It smells so good. Looks so beautiful. Maybe a little bit more paprika powder. And as said, just never be shy with the spice. And never be shy with anything. And don't worry. Put a little bit too much in. Add a little bit more water. It will cook away. There. This is it now. Now we add the tomatoes. Okay. Oh, are we all hungry? Again, roughly chopped tomatoes too. They will give the whole goulash the jus, and also because there is some acid in the tomatoes, it will give it some thickening actually of the gravy later. I will put the mushrooms in at the end because they don't need that much time to cook. So now that this is really nicely stirred, I will add some water. I do not like to use broth. Broth makes, in my taste. If you use chicken broth, it will taste like chicken. I just want the natural flavor of everything I'm cooking in here, so no broth, just plain old water. And just cover it, just so. Turn the heat down, put the lid on, and then we let it simmer for about an hour. And then we can sit down and eat it. So the goulash now is really cooked down nicely. The meat is soft, the vegetables are soft, and all we need to do now is just add the mushrooms, which I sliced before. And I will stir them in nicely and maybe give them about a minute until they're really kind of soft. The thing with mushrooms is because they really cook fast, and we don't want soggy dark brown mushrooms. We just want to still see that it was a mushroom before. There you go, and everything else is ready. The bread is sliced. It's simmering nicely, and I think all we need now is a nice glass of red wine with it. Yeah, that's what we do. Nice bottle of red wine. There you go. Ready to have lunch.